Screeching Weasel's television City Dream album was released by Fat Records in 1998 and then re-released in 2010 on red vinyl and on yellow vinyl. 300 red, 298 yellow.
Screeching Weasel time is here! You're probably wondering to yourself, why is this fella talking about Screeching Weasel? Why Screeching Weasel time is here? I'll tell you why Screeching Weasel time is here. It's because Screeching Weasel time is here. It's television City Dream. Screeching Weasel album from both 1998 and being re-released in 2010. That's 12 years later.
That's 12 years later.
With different artwork. Let's take a look at the record now. On the front of the record, or the obverse, we can see this is the newer design. The flaming man with fire coming out from behind him. A city.
Maybe some kind of
perhaps
flaming
he's dreaming.
scumbag.
And here's a television with a lady crying. Cheer up, lady. I don't know what you're sad about, but it's probably something a little bit rubbish. Maybe she's sad about the change of artwork. Let's take a look at the reverse now. Oh, look at this. Such a change of tone, such a change of colour. Look at this. Lovely and bright. 10 tracks, side A, 10 tracks, side B. That's because this re-release from 2010 has got 5 extra tracks. 5 unreleased extra tracks. Isn't that nice? And here we can see a picture of the band. There's Man 1, Man 2, and the others. There they are, and behind them you can see the original artwork on the wall, or at least a kind of version of it. Let's have a look at the record inside, if you can be bothered to keep watching. Oh, look at this. A lovely sturdy card. It's nice. It's that kind of white card, not that floppy sort of recycled. Not that there's anything wrong with recycled. Brown card. Sort of grainy brown card that's a bit floppy, none of that. And this is a lovely sturdy inner sleeve. I do like them. Less paper dust. And an insert. On one side is blank, just like you'd imagine. And here, words. Lots of words. Too many words? I don't know, but look at that. Words, the words to the songs, the words to life. Can you see them on there? The credits of the songs themselves, and at the bottom, a little flashback to the original artwork. Look at that. But the record itself, let's have a look. Oh, it's the red one. Oh, it's the red one. Oh, it's the red one. Look at that. It's a solid red, but it's also a touch transparent. I do like it. It's a strong red, a kind of blood red. Maybe a touch lighter than blood red. Just to get themselves off of a murder case, maybe they could say it's not blood, it's slightly brighter. And the court to be like, okay, we'll let you off, sir. We'll let you off again. But looking at this, here we have a typical label. Fat Records, Screeching Weasel, Television City Dream, 10 tracks, and the year of the record. And on the other side, a near identical label, but this side, side B, and different track names. Great! So you don't have to pick up the insert or the sleeve when it's spinning to see what the tracks are. All you have to do is spin your head so you can see it and kind of read off the spinning record. Let's flip and listen, you stupid sod. Lovely traditional Screeching Weasel from the 1990s. I'm just going to take a turn of it to side B and have a listen to that one too. let's ask John Jughead himself some questions about this, if you don't mind. John, tell me about the old cover work, please.
The old cover was originally created by Aldo Giorgini, which is Massimiliano Giorgini's father. Massimiliano, of course, is the man in charge of Sonic Iguana Studios and produced and engineered most of the Screeching Weasel records. His father was a really close friend to the band, and he passed away during the recording of one of our records. I think it was How to Make Enemies. I might be wrong about that, but I remember he came to visit us, and I lived in Logan Square, and we all went out to Mexican food. He had a tumor in his brain, and that was the last time we got to see him. Sorry for the serious point, but that album cover has a lot of serious meaning for us. So Ben wanted to have that be the cover of the record. He basically drew that by hand. Although in the art world was known for his skills of basically being able to create the straightest lines out of any artist. He also was an engineer who worked on canals, I think, for water to different cities and towns. So I think even though it's not a very popular cover, I think it has probably the most meaning out of all the other covers. A lot of the other covers are random.
Yeah, tell me about this one. This one now.
The new cover, I wasn't around for the decision for it with the skeleton on it. I think it's not really characteristic of Screeching Weasel, and I think it's kind of stupid. I don't like it at all.
And which song are you most pleased with, Jughead?
So what song am I most pleased about on Television City Dream? That's an interesting choice of words. Pleased. So probably what makes me happy to listen to is Burn It Down. And that because it was a frustrating song, because Ben brought it in for a couple of years, I think, and it never seemed to work quite properly with the band. Then he finally brought it in for Television City Dream, and we sort of, I think me and it was Zach at that time, added this sort of wicka 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 sort of guitar sound. Sounds almost military between the chords, and I think that really worked well with it. So Lumley put a pretty cool repeating drum sound behind it. So that's one of the few songs on the album I still listen to and think about.
Could you tell me, when you think about this record, what exactly is your Mond memory? What springs to Mond?
It springs to Monde. Monde or Mond, which is spelled M-O-N-D. I had to look up that word. It's actually an anagram, which means modified Newtonian dynamics, which is actually a theory that's trying to do away with the idea of dark matter. So maybe this means what is my more darker memories about Television City Dream, which there are actually a lot. I think it was the most miserable time I had recording any record. I mostly had fun on Screeching Weasel records. I loved being in the studio. But Ben was never there. We were in Sonic Iguana in Indiana, and it was the only time on any of the records up until then where I couldn't play a song fast enough. There was a downstroking muting on Speed of Mutation, which I ended up having to, sadly, and I was very depressed, had to give up and let Zach do both of the downstroke muting on those songs. Even though I did get through Identity Crisis, which is just as fast, but for some reason I just was not in the mood to have to spend another 3 hours trying to get that part. So that is the Monde memory of being in the studio during Television City Dream.
What have you been listening to, John?
Lately I've been doing some philosophy studying and a lot of sort of history evaluation of the 19th century and the early 20th century. So I went down a rabbit hole of Arnold Schoenberg, who I happen to like quite a bit. He created this thing called the 12-tone scale, which creates some really odd music. I think a lot of probably horror movies probably have a lot of, may not even know it, but to have their sort of history embedded in sort of sounds that he created. It's very unmelodic, but also very cool sounding at the same time.
What an inspiration!
Oh yes, and here's the last thing I'd like to say about Television City Dream.
Thanks ever so much, John. Thanks for your time. Now I'm going to go listen to this again, just to double check that my important evaluation wasn't incorrect. I'd feel ever so silly if it was. But before you go, just one last thing I must tell you. If you've only got enough money to buy one side of the LP, if you've been spending all your money on silverware so you can plant it in your enemy's house so that you can tell the police that they stole it from your house, or maybe your old granny's house, just to get them in trouble because you don't like money but you like to get your enemies in trouble, if you've done something like that, if you can only afford one side, I'd get... It's a toss-up. This time, it's a toss-up. Both sides have great songs, both sides have 10 songs. Go for either. If you can only afford one side, flip a coin. Go for it. I'm not here to make your mind up for you. I'm not here to tell you if you have to hold your breath for how long when you're underwater. I'm not here to tell you how much cement to put on your house when you're making a new outhouse for keeping your chickens and your ducks and your little swords in. No, I don't know anything like that, and I'm not here to guide you through life. I'm just here to tell you a little bit about this record here. Do you get me? Do you get that through your head? Go and listen to it, and if you don't want to, just plain sod off. Go. Ooh.
And so another chapter comes to its end.
That's Molly the Jula.
Thank you ever so much for watching my very good video. Don't forget to subscribe to the Very Good channel and come back next week for another very good video. A video to watch. Now, it's a good video.